Who is the Canon EOS C80 6K full-frame cinema camera actually good for? Who should walk away without spending a dime? And does the price make sense for the average creator who just wants reliable footage? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Those are the questions that keep most of us up at night when a new cinema camera lands on the market, because the line between nice to have and essential gets blurry fast. If you've ever tried to shoot a short narrative on a mirrorless stills camera and felt the autofocus stumble the moment the light changed, you'll understand the hesitation that comes with stepping up to a dedicated cinema rig. The C80 promises a 6K full-frame sensor that's back-illuminated and stacked, which, on paper, should mean cleaner highlights and less noise when you push the ISO. But the real test is whether that sensor actually lets you work in the uneven lighting of a cramped apartment or a dimly lit restaurant without pulling a noisy image that needs heavy post-processing. Likewise, you'll want to know if the dual-pixel CMOS AFI system can lock on a moving subject quickly enough for a walk-and-talk sequence, or if you'll spend half your shoot chasing focus pulls that never quite land. Let's break down what matters once the box is opened. First, the sensor. A 6K full-frame sensor sounds impressive, but for most indie creators the extra resolution rarely translates into a visible benefit unless you're planning on heavy cropping or large-format delivery. In typical 1080p or 4K delivery pipelines, the extra pixels give you a safety net for aggressive reframing, but they also demand a more robust workflow. You'll need fast disks, a workstation that can handle 6K RAW if you go that route, and storage that can absorb the larger files. If you're already comfortable editing 4K footage, the C80's high-resolution sensor will feel like overkill, and you might end up paying for data you never truly use. That said, the back-illuminated design does help keep shadows detail-rich, and the triple-base ISO, 800, 3200, 12800, is a practical feature for low-light shooters. In real-world tests, a scene lit only by practical lamps, think a coffee shop after hours, stayed usable at ISO 3200 without a noticeable color shift. Pushing to 12800 did introduce grain, but it was still softer than what you'd see on many APS-C-sized cinema sensors at the same setting. So, if you frequently shoot in venues where you can't control lighting, documentary interviews, live music, or small-scale event coverage, the built-in high ISO flexibility could save you a rental light kit. Autofocus confidence is another make-or-break factor. The dual-pixel CMOS AFI system is Canon's flagship for both stills and video, offering face detect and eye detect modes that work in both portrait and landscape orientation. In practice, the system locks fairly quickly on a static subject, but it can hunt a bit when the subject moves erratically or when you're using lenses with slower focus motors. If your workflow relies on smooth focus pulls without a dedicated focus puller, you'll want to pair the C80 with Canon's V-series lenses that have built-in stepping motors, STM, or the newer RF lenses with linear motor AF. Using older L-series lenses that lack the newer focus technology will still work, but you'll likely notice slower response times, especially in low light. Stabilization is a point where many cinema cameras leave the field to an external rig. The C80 does not include in-body image stabilization (IBIS), which means you'll need a gimbal, a shoulder rig, or a lens with optical stabilization for handheld work. For a solo creator who wants to walk through a location and capture a single-take monologue, this could be a deal-breaker. However, for set-based work where you have a tripod or dolly, the lack of IBIS is less consequential, and the camera's weight, about 2 kilograms without accessories, keeps it manageable on a small rig. Connectivity and workflow flexibility are often underrated. The C80 comes with 12G SDI, HDMI, Wi-Fi, and Ethernet ports, giving you a range of options for live streaming, external recording, or remote monitoring. The Ethernet port is especially handy for on-set data backups. You can dump footage directly to a NAS without needing to swap cards. In a real-world shoot where the crew is small, these ports let you avoid extra gear. No need for a separate video encoder if you can send the feed straight to a streaming platform via Ethernet. Battery life is a practical concern that can make or break a day-long shoot. The C80 uses Canon's LPE6NH rechargeable battery, which the company rates for roughly 90 minutes of continuous 6K recording. In my own test runs, swapping batteries after each hour kept the camera in a comfortable temperature range and avoided sudden shutdowns. If you're planning long, uninterrupted captures like a theater performance or a wedding ceremony, you'll want to budget for at least 2 spare batteries and a charging solution. The camera's power consumption ramps up noticeably when you enable high frame rate recording, 60 frames per second at 6K, so keep an eye on that if your schedule is tight. Now, who should walk away? If you're a hobbyist who mainly shoots on